Hey there, fellas. Welcome back to yet another igniting part of this anime. But just for a quick reminder, last time we saw that the two princes were trying their best to meet with Ellie, but were denied the meeting every time. Prince Gladiel didn't get to meet Ellie, but he did meet Raphilia, Sauvel's daughter. So Vancryft were trying their best to keep the royals away from Ellie, and it certainly stands for a good reason too. Her elemental control and powers are top-notch. And not to mention the curse on the royal family tends to drive any spirit to madness. So Ellie was keeping her distance and visited a silver mine, where she saw traces of a chronic illness in the laborers. A sort of disease people get from inhaling dust and metal particles. So Ellie took it upon herself to make a full-fledged cure for them and locked herself in her room, but making it was so taxing that poor Ellie blacked out from exhaustion. It was reasonable, since she hadn't taken a break while creating this medicine. And Origin also didn't interfere because it was necessary to understand the limits of Ellie. So now that she had seen that, Origin went to ask Val about a few things. Then after a good rest, the little princess woke up all happy to see her hard work paid off. But Daddy was yanked about this. Ellie quickly apologized, but Roval was seriously mad this time, to the point he lost his usual be-positive attitude. So when Origin showed up, she made Ellie understand how much she had made her old man worry. But besides that, her work was really incredible. So she showed it to Sauvel and went to the mine to make the finishing touches. The silver mine was nearly exhausted, but Ellie used her powers to enrich the mine again. Thanks to this, the miners wouldn't have to worry about their livelihood. So Ellie began treating people with her medicine. Then, after wrapping that up, the main issue was how they would handle the distribution of her new medicine. Ellie thought the town's church should manage it, since the church also serves as a clinic in this town. But while Ellie was being showered with love, Raphilia was having a hard time with all the etiquette training and studying. So finally, she exploded and ran off. I mean, who wouldn't get angry when everyone taunts you to do this and do that for every little thing? The image Raphilia had of becoming a noble was different. She imagined a worry-free life where they wouldn't need to overwork to put food on the table, but the hidden nonsense that came with being one was insane. She is free-spirited, so all this felt like shackles. But after meeting with the prince, he constantly remained in her mind. So when she was returning back, she heard the maids talking about Ellie, and Raphilia got mad hearing that. So she went to talk with Sauvel, but he told her to ask everything to her mom. Now this was stupid, and Roval even pointed it out. And on the other side, Arya was being a drunkard after the incident 3 years back. She didn't even care about her daughter now, just because they are being looked down on for being a commoner. The sight of her mother crying like this attracts Isabel to show up. But what about Raphilia? The girl is all alone where neither her father nor her mother takes care of her. Isabel tried making Sauvel understand this, but instead of being a good father, Sauvel decided to send Raphilia to the academy instead. Worse, he even compared Ellie to her. So Isabel told Sauvel not to do that. What he has to do is take care of his wife and child instead of forsaking them like this. After saying what was on her mind, Isabel left. So now it was up to Sauvel if he would take his responsibility seriously. Afterwards, Ellie was overseeing her medicine and patients at the mine, and all of them were doing pretty well. And Sauvel brought the good news that the medicine distribution was taken care of with the church. But then Origin showed up because she also wanted to help. But if she did, the whole geography of this place would turn upside down. But Origin was throwing a tantrum because both father and daughter were leaving her out of everything. Roval and Ellie understood that Origin was feeling lonely, so they decided to spoil her rotten for the day and left. And this should knock some sense into Sauvel about what he should be doing with his own family. Because Sauvel doesn't even know his daughter is exchanging letters with Gladiel. For Raphilia, it was just friendship, and Prince Gladiel also enjoyed talking to her. But away from there, a terrible cold was spreading around, so Ellie did her best and prepared medicine accordingly. Thanks to her being so capable, all the people in Vancryft land weren't having such a hard time. That's why people started calling her the Healing Princess. And thanks to this popularity, the royals now got the wind that the Healing Princess is extraordinary. The one who got this news was a doctor of the royals who wanted to get his hands on that medicine, and Ravissel knew the reason was his mother's illness. That was true, but Hume still made up that people's trust in the royals would start to waver if the medicine fell into the hands of merchants. If so, then Ravissel agreed, since Hume is also a spirit mage himself. After that, he went to have tea with Gladiel and asked about his letter exchange with Raphilia and talked about the recent rumor of the healing princess. Meanwhile, the Vancryft family were also facing heavy migration to their land for the medicine. At this rate, they couldn't keep up, so Ellie said they would have to make a system to prioritize those with worse conditions over others. But Ellie felt bad for taking all the credit because it wasn't her idea. Yet Rovell cheered her up because even if she didn't come up with it, it was commendable that she used it at the right time to solve problems like this. Now Sauvel thought Rovell was too overdoting, but Rovell made him understand that a father should do at least this much. He had kept ignoring Raphilia for so long that now she doesn't even want to talk to him. Then Sauvel again changed the topic to public safety, and the reason was obvious since it puts Ellie in danger. So Sauvel had arranged to get a personal guard for her. It was Alberto's own son, so he would be trustworthy. He seemed good for the job, but his chivalric behavior made Ellie embarrassed. More so, Rovell couldn't trust a human with her safety, so he told Van to become her second guard. His spirit form gave a jump scare to everyone, and then he immediately started picking fights with Kai. But going around in this form wasn't ideal, so Van turned into his human form to make the competition even higher. So finally, overprotective Daddy told both idiots to back off. Meanwhile, Gladiel and Hume came to Vancryft land to investigate. Their goal was to get the medicine and disclose the identity of the healing princess, but sending a prince for this task felt like too much. But then Hume suddenly saw the wind spirit removing the disease by air, so it made one thing clear. A high-level spirit was involved. So while they continued their investigation, Raphilia received another letter from Prince Gladiel. But how? Well, we will see that afterwards. For now, Ellie was going somewhere for work and having a small talk with Kai, which wasn't pleasing to hear for Van and Rovell. And then they arrived at the church, where the sister reported the hard time patients were giving them, due to the new system that prioritizes patients with worse condition. It was a problem, but this was as far as they could go. So they returned home, and Van got back into his human form and charmed the maids. Now there, Sauvel asked Lauren to arrange his dinner with Arya and Raphilia today, because he wanted to turn over a new leaf now. But they heard the news that Raphilia was nowhere to be found. Sauvel panicked and searched by himself, even went to Arya to check if she knew anything, but she didn't. So Van used his powers to hear from the winds that people were talking about the medicine and the girl, so that meant those people were after the medicine, and Ellie, but they mistook Raphilia for Ellie and took her. But this is where the video ends for today, so stay tuned to watch the next part, because from here on it is only going to get more fun. That is why make sure you are subscribed to the channel, so you won't miss any update. Till then, take care.